This meeting is called to order. Let us stand for prayer. Heavenly Father, we give thanks to you for our time together. We ask that you will humble our hearts, that we will bring glory and honor to your name as we conduct city business. Thank you. In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Let us pledge. Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I wish to welcome you to our City Council meeting with the Board of Alderpersons. At this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Goldman. Roll call.
Mr. Moore.
Present.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Nathan.
Here.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mr. Law.
Present.
All present, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Goldman. Announcements. We had lots of rain during the month of October, and I wish to express my appreciation for all of the hard work that our city workers perform, unclogging drains and making sure that the culverts were working properly. So if you see a city worker, I urge you to express gratitude. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., the city will host a steering committee meeting at the Bastrop Municipal Center on our recovery plan with Mr. Ed B. Would you stand up? Mr. B is with us. Thank you. We had a real good kickoff meeting, and I credit his company with all the hard work working with us. Thank you so much. On November 16th, a parish-wide parent meeting will be held at the Bastrop Municipal Center at 6 p.m. This meeting is to afford parents the opportunity to become more acquainted with how the school system is coordinating with the community for the delivery of services for our overall benefit. The V-Vehicle Company will host a suppliers meeting in Monroe for selected potential suppliers. In the interest of our community, I have forwarded this information on to appropriate parties who may be connected with this company. I would like to applaud the united efforts of our citizens with the incremental steps that we are making towards success. The Equine Center was in the makings for about 15 years. That's about to come to fruition. The upgrades to the hospital, the groundbreaking service that we attended, I applaud them for their efforts. The renovations to the Toyota of Bastrop, we have a representative here that we'll hear from a little later in this meeting. The location of a new business in the industrial park, and we will hear about this from Kay King a little later in the meeting, and all others working on our behalf. We have a lot of people working for Bastrop to make it a better place. Also, property taxes will be mailed out next week, so you can start looking to receive that in the mail. At this time, I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes for October 8th, 2009, our regular meeting. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
May I make the motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting of October?
I second it, Mayor.
Properly moved and second. Any questions? Discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Finance Committee meeting report, Resolution 091307, bills and claims for the month of October 2009. At this time, I will entertain a motion. Mr. Armstrong?
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 091307.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to take the prerogative to move this agenda around a little bit to give adequate time for one of our guests. At this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Kay King, Economic Development, to give us an update, please.
Thank you, Mayor Olive and City Council. You know, I always appreciate being here, and I really appreciate a lot of things that the city has done, including the strong showing that we had at our recent annual meeting and breakfast. We had a tremendous turnout from the city and Mayor Olive, and I appreciate all the city council members that attended that and all of the city workers and department heads that were present at our meeting. We tried to have some good food, and we hope that you carried away some valuable information and optimism about the things that we're working on. But thank you.
Thank
And I have
you.
another award that I would like to present. Annually, the MEDC represents the city of Bastrop at the Team City Conference for Entergy, and they recognize cities that participate in strong planning, and it's important for us to have that representation in Baton Rouge. And this year I was unable to attend because we were right in the midst of our redevelopment planning meetings that week, and Lo Dunn, who is past chairman of our board and a member of the board of directors of Morehouse Economic Development, accepted the conference participation award, and I would like to present that to the city at this time. We always want to remain a strong team member of the energy team, because I know that David Lewis, customer service representative, and Don Terry with Energy provides us with a lot of services and information when we work with companies. So, and I want to go, no Mayor Olive spoke of this, but we did get the list from the Vehicle Supplier Fair, and the Chamber of Commerce and Morehouse Economic Development team this week, and we mailed out these notices. We contacted a lot of the companies that we knew would be interested in this, but we mailed out around 250 of these to area businesses, because we wanted the business community to see the potential for this company, and also to help the community identify, as we work in this redevelopment process, to identify the companies that might be attracted to this area and develop assets that might be attractive to the different types of companies. Some of the companies that they had listed were metal forming, injection molding, and powder corrosion coating, and tubing and hose manufacturers. And those are certainly sectors of business that could be attracted to the Bastrop area and Morehouse Parish. There was a long list of other machinery, industrial service companies, and supply companies, and we can already identify that we have some of those companies for metal fabrication, industrial maintenance, and even a large variety of other services, but I think even packaging and pallet companies and things that we have here that may be able to take advantage of this new opportunity in the Monroe area. And we're just not very far from the V vehicle, and I'm sure it's going to provide a lot of jobs and future growth for this parish as well. And as kind of icing on the cake for that, Timerica has also been successful at providing an opportunity for Bastrop to be featured in an ethanol producer magazine, and we've done the interviews this week, and we're providing some photographs for that to promote the Bastrop area and hopefully showcase some of the assets that International Paper has then that might potentially come on the market, and those assets that are currently on the market. So we are still working in the redevelopment plan, that we're identifying sectors of business that we have about, we've already mailed out around 1,600 cards of the brochure cards, but we have about another 900 of those in our office, and we're going to be identifying some additional sectors of business according to the V vehicle, and we'll be doing some other mail outs on that. We only have to get this into one or two of the right hands. So there is potential for success when you look at numbers. And I just want to remind everyone that we are working still on our hometown connection. That's our effort to bring people back into the parish. I will be doing a mail out in December. I have around 300 names on that list right now, but if anyone has a list from alumni, high school reunion, any type of other type of organizations where people come back into the area and return home, we would like to get those names so we can promote a lot of the accomplishments that we're having in the community right now. So I think we've got something else coming up on the agenda later, but
We do, and
that's the close of that.
while you're here, okay, are there any questions for Ms. King on what she just spoke with us about? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move to item number 10 while you're there, but I think it makes for an easier flow.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes,
Doug's gonna take your number 10.
number 10, okay.
Yeah. 13.
Number 10, Doug, okay.
You want me to cover it now?
Oh, yep.
Okay, does it connects with K? I see
Not-
K's.
not
You
particularly.
don't? That was an, okay. Okay, well, let's go ahead to number 13, and that way we'll get that,
Around a month and a half ago, I had a couple of young men contact our office about the potential to bring in a sweet potato biscuit company. I recognized immediately that this company would fit very well in an existing building that the city of Bastrop owns in our industrial park. The Thermologic building was rehabbed in 2002 to actually make products for Gerber, some type of contract, and that was before my time and certainly before your time too. So I don't know exactly what happened to that, but we've had this building it is extremely nice building. I met with the FDA on Friday, and this building was approved for use to store and possibly manufacture dough for these biscuits. This is a business incubator type, business incentive type lease, and we hope to develop an additional sector of business that we do not currently have in Bastrop, and with the food product manufacturing and processing. And with that, I'd like to ask that the City Council allow Mayor Olive to enter into a lease agreement with Macon Ridge Foods, LLC, to provide them with a lease with 2 additional year options as they work to develop a new business, a startup business in the industrial park.
okay. Thank you, Kay. And I went ahead and took this in this order because it comes on the heels of announcements, and we certainly welcome this business with open arms. At this time, I will entertain a motion from this council.
I'll make a
Giving me
motion.
the authority.
And second.
Properly moved and second. Any questions? Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Olive.
Thank you,
Thank
Kay.
you, City Council.
Okay, we're going to move back up on the agenda. I apologize for any confusion. Are we ready for our presentation? You're not, okay. Hold on, Mr. Chill and Carl. Okay. Item number 8. It is my pleasure to appoint Ms. Brenda Moore to the Commission for the Historic District. She's with us. Would you stand up, Ms. Moore? You accept this appointment? Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion from this council on this recommendation.
I make a motion to accept Ms. Brenda Moore.
Okay, we have a motion.
I second.
Properly moved in second. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Moore, for your commitment to public service. Item number 9, Resolution 09-1306, a resolution authorizing the City of Bastrop, Louisiana to participate in an agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to provide sidewalk improvements. Willie McKee.
Mayor, alderpersons, I think everyone's familiar with the sidewalk program. We've discussed it in the past. The Louisiana Department of Transportation bid out and accepted a bid, the low bid for the sidewalk improvements around the square and basically around Jefferson and Washington area. This allows the mayor, if you all vote for this allows the mayor to go ahead and enter into this agreement with the Department of Transportation.
Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion on this resolution.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion. Properly moved in second. Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. McKee. Item number 10, Resolution 09-1308, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with Borderline Paperboard Converting and Union Pacific Railroads. Mr. Lawrence.
Mayor, this is a resolution that authorizes an expansion of a right that the city currently has is to access and use of a railroad facility or spur, I believe in the industrial park. And the intent here is to authorize you to execute a written agreement with Union Pacific Railroad on behalf of or for the benefit of Baudelaire Paper to allow that company to be able to access this segment of railroad track. So with the adoption of this resolution, you will in effect have the authority to give Baudelaire Paper access to the railroad.
At this time, I will entertain a motion on this resolution.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion,
Second.
properly moved in second. Any questions or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Item number 11, Resolution 09-1309, a resolution requesting a traffic light at the intersection of Marlette and Highway US 425, Louisiana Highway 2, Keith Warner and Shannon Norbert. Keith, with Toyota of Bastrop. And Mr. Lawrence.
Sure.
When you come to the microphone, would you state your name, your address?
Shannon Noblet, Toyota Bastrop. Keith Warner, AK Premier Builders.
We have some developments going on at Toyota of Bastrop that's going to really be an added feature for the community and a facelift. And I know that traffic is an issue, and I'm urging this council to support the efforts to get a red light at that intersection. I talked with U.S. Senator David Vitter today. He's going to support us in it, and we don't want to have another casualty there and have to petition on that basis. I feel better petitioning based on the upgrades being made in that area. We have the equine center that's going up and some other possibilities. And in fact, Mr. Carter of Toyota of Bastrop has offered to finance that, but I feel that in the interest of his business and other businesses that we should be able to ask for this as a benefit to the community. Mr. Lawrence, you want to speak to that resolution that you drafted?
Well, yes, ma'am, and the purpose of it is not only to show support for this particular application, but also to show that the city has no objection to it, that in fact the city wants it, and hopefully it will be written evidence that can be presented to the Department of Transportation Development and others to show that we are in favor of it.
Thank you so much. Did you want to talk about the added features that we're upgrading out there?
Yeah, I believe, and I'll let Keith speak also. On my behalf, being there on a day-to-day basis, I've been there since February, and I would like to say that, if I'm not mistaken, I've visually seen 6 accidents, one of those with a death occurring, and was actually out there trying to help, and have actually seen that at that location. From my perspective on the business end, I think it is vital for Toyota Bastrop to be successful and succeed, and we're, along with Mr. Carter and the group here, trying to make that as successful as possible. And I think that the red light will contribute to that as well. So it's a win-win situation for both.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, and I look forward to your coming back as we work through this process. This is the beginning of the city working on behalf of this effort.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. At this time, I will entertain a motion on this resolution.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the resolution 091309.
I second, Mayor.
Properly moved in second. Any questions, discussions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Gentlemen, Ms. Goldman will see to it that you get a copy of that resolution. Thank you. Are we ready for the presentation? Mr. Floyd? Oh, okay. At this time, we'll go back on the agenda, and it's my pleasure to present to you Tanner Treshelle with Northeast Louisiana Economic Alliance, and also we have a visitor from out of town. We're working on a stabilization program that addresses blight in the community. Would you state your name and tell us about what we're about to see?
Tanner Treshelle. I'm President and CEO of Northeast Louisiana Economic Alliance. In our normal course of business, you may know us better as the coordinating responsible authority for the renewal communities, both northern and central, and also as the regional economic development organization representing the area you see above. We wear a lot of hats, and I'm going to pass this out so that you'll have something to be looking at while we're going through this PowerPoint. We recruit with an organization that turned in guide for the V plant. We worked with Garnet in Thomas, and it took us 4 years to land ConAgra. So,
Thank you.
we're always looking for opportunities that may do something good in our communities, and we try on a daily basis to do some incremental good that makes another step towards strengthening our opportunities and our well-being. So it came across when the stimulus plan came out. Actually, Mr. Friend brought it to my attention that there may be an opportunity for us to do something for our communities with the neighborhood stabilization plan. So we retained him to put together our application. We applied for $4 million, and we were awarded $1 million in funds to help improve our communities this way. So if you will open up to page 2, I'll try to get to the next slide. This is, we were able to, there was criteria by HUD to tell us which areas would be qualified. So we picked 3 areas within our region and 2 other areas that are within our renewal communities. But our focus is going to be on this area in Franklin Parish, this area in Ouachita Parish, because we're working with the city and the other organization that also got an NSP grant. We've decided to be partners. And this area in Morehouse Parish. So what we want to do is we have become a land bank agency, And we want to address the problems in priority neighborhoods impacted by foreclosures, unoccupied, vacant, and abandoned housing. And this is what we're looking for, these kinds of structures. On that one, we want to wipe that one out. This one, we just want to sell it and get it in the hands of a family that needs a new home. That one's questionable. Is it a rehab or is it a scrape-off? Those are decisions that we'll have to make as we go along. The foreclosed properties might be a property that's foreclosed on by a bank or any other mortgage company or institution or USDA or HUD or from a sheriff's sale are properties adjudicated to the parish or city. So all of those sources are opportunities for us. Unoccupied properties are defined as properties which are empty, unlived in, and uninhabited without tenants, legal or not. Even though they're vacant, it has a specific technical definition for us in this program. The easiest thing for us to do and spend this money is to get rid of the blighted houses that are unoccupied and just, detriment to any neighborhood. So that's sort of been our first focus. You cherry pick, and that's kind of what we're doing is picking those properties first. Other abandoned properties may have been foreclosed and not had taxes paid on them, and those get adjudicated, and in that case, we will have the city or the parish, whoever's in ownership of that property, transfer it to us and let us do whatever we're going to do to it, whether it's scrape it off, rehab it, or whatever, and then we will give it back to the city. And then you can do with it whatever you wish. And if you choose to sell it, that money would go back to the city. If you choose to put it in your Section 108 program, it would just be another beneficial property to you. Or if you just chose to sell it or make vacant land on a little farm for that neighborhood. There are plenty of opportunities here to improve some areas in Bastrop that badly need it. We're a land bank, so we're going to hold and manage the foreclosed on properties. We will act as a legal and financial vehicle to transform abandoned properties and foreclosed properties and get them back into some sort of productive use. For the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, the land bank can only deal with foreclosed residential properties, which include adjudicated properties to the parish or city for non-payment of taxes. Now, we went to the appropriate authority here in Bastrop and got a list of those properties and have examined them, and we have some that we want to talk about working on here tonight. We can acquire foreclosed property. We can hold or carry the property for up to 10 years, but we don't want to. We want to hold it for the shortest period of time possible and do whatever we're going to do with it. We can manage the property while holding them either through a rental lease or secured or maintained. This includes minor repairs, and that our own philosophy is to turn them, and so we would hold them the shortest period of time. We can demolish blighted structures. I think this is a very good objective for us, is to get rid of some blighted structures in neighborhoods. We can sell or donate properties to qualified individuals, housing authorities, or NGOs for redevelopment, residential, and mixed use only. So we can actually donate these properties to nonprofit or for-profit developers if they agree to do something productive with the properties. We can also give them to governing jurisdictions for public use, and that would be you. Redevelopment by purchase or donations, this is the condition of sale or donation. It must be used for affordable housing, and that's defined as not exceeding 120% of the average area household income. Rents must be in accordance with the HUD defined fair market rents, and mortgage payments cannot exceed 30% of the household income. Recipients of the property will receive the property under mortgage to Louisiana Housing Finance Agency with enforceable codicils requiring affordability and continuing residential. So we have very strong oversight by Louisiana Public Finance and Housing. Here's what we would like to do with our program. These are our objectives. Any property that needs to be rehabbed or can be built on, we want to donate it to Youth Build. And then the proceeds could be used to further support the Youth Build program. We want to give it to Habitat. Now that brings up another subject. Bastrop does not have a Habitat chapter, but we have met with the Monroe chapter and the regional representative of Habitat, and they will help a chapter here if you choose to start one. And I think that would be a really great community program to have, and I hope that we can take the initiative here to do that. When I say they will help, they indicated to me that they would come in and, you know, build a house and use local volunteers to mentor this chapter if it were started. We also want to utilize the alternative youth program in the Rayville schools for performance of securing the properties and required minor repairs. I don't know if you've heard about that school, but it's something that was a project that Reverend Smith worked hard on and the school board there worked hard on. And an alternative school has been established, and one of their programs is to teach their youth how to build houses. They struggle for money for supplies and equipment and tools, and we feel that this would benefit them if we can work them into this program in some way. Within the defined NSP areas, we can acquire 10 properties, and we prefer to do so in concentrations to preserve the visibility. Also, you know, if we can find 3 houses that have been abandoned in a neighborhood, we've really increased the property values of that neighborhood and the local pride, and done away with rodents and unsavory things that might happen with that property. We want to turn these acquired properties as soon as possible. In West Bastrop, U.S. Housing has defined it as an area where the housing market is troubled. We drove through there tonight on our way in, and I would say that's a fair assessment. You know, there are a number, just on a couple of streets that we drove, there were a number of abandoned houses. Anyway, we want to acquire, hold, and eventually return those properties to active private residential ownership or some productive product for the community. We're new at this, so is everybody that's doing it. So it's a new program, but we feel it's a noble effort, and we felt it was worthy of an economic development mission. We'll keep you apprised of what we do. Right now, we have identified some adjudicated properties on Pruitt Street, Charlene, Ogden, and Huey Street that might actually work for this program. So we're on our way. We appreciate any involvement from the city. The mayor's been extremely supportive and welcoming of our efforts, and we appreciate that. We want to work closely with Bastrop and with Morehouse Parish to do whatever we can to make it economically a better city. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. Trishelle. And you have a guest with you. I'm going to let you present him, but while he's coming up, let me say this. We have 5 council members, and I'm sure they were all listening for a street in their district to be called as you.
Well, you know, we'd like to get every district. If your district is in that area, we certainly want you to be aware of what we're doing, so let me know. And I want to also mention that Mr. Friend is retained by us for another purpose. We're, as I said, the coordinating responsibility for the renewal communities, and back in 2005, I believe it was, I had made annual trips to HUD for 2003, 2004, 2005 to try and get the International Paper Company into the renewal community. And we were able to do that. And it gave them $4 million in tax relief and tax refund on their wage credits back 3 years. And we feel that that played a part in keeping them a little bit longer. Didn't make them stay. But in that process, we added another 165 businesses in Bastrop in that census tract that we were able to add. And those businesses are able to take a $1,500 wage credit. For any new construction, they're able to get a accelerated depreciation. And there are other benefits that being in the renewal community, it's a two-sided sword. You're in it because you're profoundly economically disadvantaged and poor, but the good thing is that good things are happening in those census tracts because of these benefits. We added up that through this program in our renewal communities, from 2002 through 2008, we created 4,285 jobs, and we retained over 8,000 jobs, and did $175 million worth of new construction or expansions. We really need to publicize that a little more, because creating that many jobs in these disadvantaged areas is a pretty huge accomplishment, and this program has certainly been responsible for that. It sunsets, unfortunately, December 31, 2009. However, we have led a coalition of about 100 renewal communities, enterprise communities, and enterprise zones to extend the renewal community, and Carl Friend has done the lion's share of the work. We've been the leaders in the respect that we were able to get Congressman Alexander to be the lead sponsor of the extension, and he's also joined by, this is a bipartisan effort by Archer Davis of Alabama to extend the renewal community. We made countless trips to Washington. We've knocked on almost every congressional member's door and told them how important this is. We got the governor to write a letter to all of the governors encouraging them to encourage their congressional members to sign on as original co-sponsors. And we've done this because it was the right thing to do, and because Louisiana has the most to gain, and somebody had to do it. It just seemed to fall our lot. And we have encouraging news. I'm going to let Carl tell you about that now. Carl
Okay.
Friend, he's from Oklahoma City.
Thank you, Mr. Shell.
Thank you.
Would you state your name?
Carl Friend.
We want to welcome you to North Louisiana again.
Thank you. It's good to be here. We have introduced legislation in Congress beginning in 2007. It was renewed in this session of Congress, 2009. It's the Empowerment Zone Renewal Community and Enterprise Community Enhancement Act of 2009. It is H.R. 1677 in the House, and it is S. 1222 in the Senate. The idea behind that legislation is to extend the designation of the renewal communities in Louisiana, as well as the empowerment zones and renewal communities and enterprise communities across the country through December the 31st of 2015. There is also in those bills a number of reforms. As the communities and zones were designated, it became clear that some of the benefits and the processes that had been envisioned by Congress were not working at the local level. For the community revitalization deductions and the in the renewal communities. It's kind of a use it or lose it proposition for the year in which those allocations are made. So that needs to be extended for the empowerment zones. Most of the zones have been unable to use the bonds that they've been given capacity to use. So we have some reforms in that legislation as well as the extension. We would welcome any support that Bastrop might be able to give in terms of that legislation. I've been told I'm loud enough without a microphone. We look to have that legislation out of committee as soon as they can get health care off their plates. That's been the 800-pound gorilla in the elevator for about most of 2009. But our hope is that we will see action on our bills before the end of the year. We do not anticipate that these two bills will be acted on as independent items. They will most likely be placed in the tax extenders package and adopted as a part of that bill as it comes out of the Ways and Means Committee and through the Senate Finance Committee. The things are looking good for that extension. Is that?
That's it. When Carl said that we would welcome your support, one, if you could thank Rodney Alexander for hanging in there for 3 years on this, and he's just done a yeoman's job of writing letters. Wouldn't hurt to write Archer Davis and thank him for his support. He's done an excellent job. We were able to get a hearing before Congress, and that was my first experience. I didn't get to testify, but I got to listen, and it was very compelling. And our Chairman Rangel is very much in favor of this bill and says he's going to move it out of committee. That's just very powerful help. This, I think, is the single most important thing that we do, and the single most important thing to our businesses, to help them through these difficult times. So anything you choose to do to support this effort, we would welcome. And thank you so much for letting us come tonight.
Thank you.
We appreciate what you do and your counsel, and we can see that Bastrop is moving forward, and we love the job that Kay does. She's one of our board members, and she's a very important part of this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Michelle. Do you have any questions? Ms. Goldman, would you make a note of our sending letters of gratitude? Thank you. Okay, item number 15. Ordinance 094193, an ordinance to amend Ordinance 084196 to amend the provisions of the enabling ordinance for the Bastrop Historic District to provide limitations on the number of sidewalk signs that may be used in the historic district. Mr. Lawrence.
Mayor, I think that this is a final draft that reflects the desires and the intentions of the parties making the request. And I think the bottom line is it will lead to businesses having one sign that will be displayed outside on the exterior, which is a change from the current ordinance read. From my recollection, would allow for multiple signs to be on the exterior of these buildings. This was introduced at a previous council meeting. It's being presented now for final adoption.
At this time, I will entertain a motion on ordinance 094193. Unless you have questions for clarity.
Mr. Lawrence,
Yes.
in reading the resolution, can you maybe go over a little bit by the meaning of one sidewalk sign?
Factually, my recollection is that among the different ways that signs are displayed, there are these folding tripod-looking type signs that are freestanding. And I think part of the problem has manifested itself with perhaps businesses that are on a corner. Maybe they had two signs, one on one street, one on another, or maybe they had more than one sign even in front of the business. But the intent, for whatever reason, is to limit that number of signs, I think, that are actually physically present, say, on the sidewalk.
Okay, so what we're saying is a business could have two signs if one was, say, on the awning and the other one was on the sidewalk.
Now, that's generally my understanding, and one of the things, I don't know if there's a representative here that wants to speak to what the real intent is, because I attempted to address what the historic district was seeking, whatever their objective was, and that was my understanding, to limit the number of sidewalk signs.
Right.
If it's a matter of elevated signs, it's not my understanding.
Okay, so this is just one sign on the sidewalk.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for clarity?
I have one concerning the sign, the neon sign. That seems to be the problem. The merchant van, he said something about the neon sign. They want him to take the neon sign down.
Yes.
Because of the historic district.
And actually, the matter about the neon sign, I think, is based on really another section of the historic district ordinance that talks about the type of sign,
Right.
period, that you can display. And I think that under the current provisions, that a neon sign is not allowed. Now, as you know, there were some pre-existing signs or signage of that type, mainly the Rose Theater,
Right.
that's been around and predated the adoption of the historic district ordinance, therefore it was grandfathered in. But the newer neon signs now that we see displayed, it is actually an issue of that type of signage being prohibited under the current draft of the historic district ordinance.
Okay.
That's not a part of this,
That's correct.
not a part of this tonight.
Right. I don't think that it's a part of this agenda item, but it certainly is a signage issue.
Right.
Okay, the only board member that I see is a new board member with the historic district, and I feel that it would be unfair to task her with speaking to that issue. At this time, I will entertain a motion if this council wishes to act on this ordinance.
And may I be very clear in
Sure.
answering Mr. Nason's question? I just wanted to reiterate that we are talking about limiting sidewalk signs, because the exact verbiage, that's the exact verbiage here.
Right.
Addressing. So that is correct.
Okay.
Does this council wish to take action on this ordinance 094193?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Nason. Is there a second?
I'll make a motion that we table this to a later date.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor, and the maker of the motion would be the one that would need to alter or amend that motion. Isn't that correct, Mr. Lawrence?
Well, if one of the members of the Board of Alderpersons desire to table the matter, I think that it is permissible for that motion to come on the floor. If there was an actual attempt to amend the motion and a friendly amendment of the motion was sought without a formal request for an amendment, it would require the maker and the person making the second to accept it.
Okay.
But I think that it is okay to make a motion to table the matter if that is the desire of one of the council members. And it does By making that motion, it now takes preference on everything else. You would need to vote on it first, of course, provided it gets a second before you can go any further.
Okay, we
I want
have,
to second Mr. Obey's motion.
okay, we have a second on the second motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The second motion. Item number 14, Resolution 091312A, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative agreement with St. Mary Community Development Organization to facilitate the providing of income tax return preparation assistance on a free and not-for-profit basis to the citizens of this parish, this community. Also, Mr. Johnson is here. Mr. Johnson, would you come and speak to this? This is a service that has been offered for a number of, how many years, Ms. Goldman?
3 years over, 4 years, I think this is the 4th year.
It might be longer than that. I'm not sure how many years it is. I'm James Johnson, representing St. Mary's CEO. I really didn't come prepared to speak on the motion, but we do want to enter into agreement with the city of Bastrop to maintain an existing program. I think Bastrop has been the sponsor of it in previous years. And when we started it years ago, it was a completely volunteer program, and I guess I was one of the volunteers, but now the workers tend to get paid, and we want to continue that program here with the city of Bastrop, free to the public, and there are many dollars that are left uncollected from the federal government because people fail to file the income tax. So we want to continue with that same program that's been in vogue for 4 years or more.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. This is a service to the community. It's not designed to make money, and this is that part of what we do to serve the community. So at this time, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 091312.
I second the motion.
Properly moved in second. Any question? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to item number 16. Is that correct, Ms. Goldman?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 094194, an ordinance to enact Section 0880.1 and 8-148 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Bastrop, Louisiana, to supplement the criminal code to provide for the creation of the criminal offenses of number 1, defacing with graffiti, and number 2, unlawful posting of criminal activity for notoriety and publicity. Introduction only. Mr. Douglas Lawrence.
Mayor, these are two Code of Ordinance provisions that were brought to my attention by the Chief of Police, and they, in fact, are derived from state law. And the thought was we would parallel in the city what it is that the state does so that the city court will have jurisdiction to hear criminal cases of this type that arise within the city. So these items are for introduction tonight, and there will be a couple of others just like this that will be forthcoming for introduction, and then at a subsequent meeting you will be asked to adopt them. But what's being presented to you is it tracks state law, and we're trying to give this court jurisdiction over these type of criminal offenses, just as the parish court has jurisdiction.
Okay. This is for introduction only. It requires no action. I credit our chief with being proactive in terms of the law. Thank you so much. Item number 17, liquor license renewals. Chief Black.
We have 25 liquor licenses that are up for renewal. These people have already sent in to have their license renewed. There's nothing new. They've had them before, and there's nothing new in the licenses. They're all the same as they were in the past. We still have probably about 3 still outstanding and have not submitted their renewals.
Okay. Mr. Lawrence, we can take them all in one batch?
Yes, ma'am, and what we would do is make that printed list, or make the list of them a part of the record, so that the public and also the official record shows those businesses that were identified.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Chief? Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion for the renewal of liquor license.
Mayor, I make a motion to renew the liquor license. I second.
Okay, properly moved in second. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I will entertain, what's that?
Number 12.
Did I skip number 12? Sure did. I have 2 agendas in front of me. Let's move back to item number 12, Resolution 091310, a resolution authorizing the mayor to make application to the FY 2010-2011 Louisiana Community Development Program for a grant in order to make improvements to the city sewer system. Mr. McKee. Thank you, Ms. Goldman.
Mayor, Board of Alderman, this will be the first grant that you all as a new board has applied for. And to give you a little background, if you've noticed, there have been some sewer rehab in the area of the Country Club, Marable, Pine, Vine, Parkhurst, and those areas. This is the same type of grant. We're applying for another one, and the mayor has to be authorized to enter into the grant, and we can't, to ask for the grant, we can't do it without a resolution.
At this time, I will entertain a motion for this authorization.
I'd like to make a motion, Mayor. I second.
Properly moved in second. Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. McKee. At this time, I will entertain a motion to expand the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 091313, a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement and any amendments thereto with the Federal Aviation Administration for the perimeter fence for the Morehouse Memorial Airport. Brent Elser.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Basically, what this does is just allow us to receive the funds that we need to pay for the fencing project that we already have underway, and also it binds us to the conditions of the grant, where we have to maintain the improvements for a given period of time, basically taking ownership of them and maintaining them. And so I recommend that we do that.
At this time, I will entertain a motion on this resolution.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 091313.
I second.
Properly moved in second. Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Elton. Resolution 091314, authorizing the city of Bastrop through its mayor to make application to the USDA Rural Development Program for a grant in order to purchase police cars. Chief Black.
Well, recently, he had made contact with some folks with the USDA, and they've indicated to us that there's possibly grant money available to buy police cars. As a matter of fact, we talked to her today or yesterday, and she said, "Do you want them decked out completely?" I said, We said, yes, of course. So we hope, we've been able to, in the past, I think, 4 or 5 cars were purchased a year. Right now, we buy 2. And of course, after a while, these cars get miles on them. They get passed down to maybe the detectives after patrol, after they come off of patrol, off the line. But as of course, as they get older, more miles on them, the maintenance costs go up. So hopefully we can get a few extra cars out of this and maybe drop some of our maintenance costs.
How many cars are you thinking about?
We're going to apply for as many as they'll give us. She didn't give us a number. She just used the word cars as plural. So we'll discuss numbers with her. We have a meeting with her the 18th of the month. So we'll maybe get some more details.
Chief, how many do we presently have?
There are 7 marked patrol cars. And then there are approximately 6 or 7 detective cars. Oh, well, that includes from the chief and the assistant chief and the detectives. And those are the older cars that the detectives drive. The new cars are put on the line for patrol to use, and then as they're swapped out and replaced, the best cars, you know, the stripes are taken off and they'll go to a detective.
Thank
I think when the chief heard this plural, his mind went to fleet automatically. At this time, I will entertain a motion on Resolution 091314.
Make a motion.
I second.
Properly moved in second. Any questions? Discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Goldman, I've covered everything. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned.